Hey guys, John V here from Phone Arena. Right now you're watching our video review of this guy here, the HTC One VX for AT&T. Now it's available right now. You can pick it up for only $50. It's a 2-year contract, so it's very affordable on anyone's budget. Now it might not have the 2 to 4 specs found with the One X Plus recently, but hey, it seems like it has a good mixture between price point, feature set, and even design to make it a decent offering for those on a budget not looking to spend a whole lot of money on a smartphone. So let's find out how the One VX fares. So right away we can tell that the HTC One VX employs many of the design characteristics we've seen out of the One series handsets. As a whole, it's definitely more budget friendly in terms of its looks and also its construction. Doesn't feel as sturdy or solid compared to the HTC One S from earlier in the year. Even the One X, the VX, seeing that it is a budget friendly device, it has a plastic body for the most part. It does emulate a metallic finish around the trim, but it is indeed plastic. Gives it a fairly balanced weight in the hand. It's a little bit curved towards the corners here, so it's quite comfortable to hold in the hand. It's not as large compared to some of the other handsets, and for the most part, for a basic entry-level device, it has a very appealing design to it. Although it's not quite as extravagant or appealing compared to some other display technologies out there, the HTC One VX features a 4.5-inch QHD Super LCD 2 panel, which is decent. Its resolution stands at 540 by 960 pixels, which translates to a pixel density of 245 pixels per inch, and utilizes the more favorable RGB matrix arrangement. But you kind of notice that the QHD is a little bit lacking nowadays, just because in the web browser, zoomed out view, even fine details are a little bit garbled looking, and you don't get that sharp clarity we'd like to find unless you zoom in a little bit more. But regardless of that, it's still a pleasant looking display. It produces some natural looking colors, wide viewing angles, and its outdoor visibility is pretty good as well. Indeed, it's an ice cream sandwich device, but regardless of that, the HTC One VX features the usual trio of Android capacitor buttons below its display. Luckily though, they're spaced far away from one another to reduce any accidental presses. Meanwhile, above the display, you have the earpiece, the light and proximity sensors, and next to that, you have the front-facing VGA camera. Unfortunately, we're not fans of its physical buttons around its trim. You have the volume control and even dedicated power button. They're both very flat to the touch, and on top of that, they're not that very responsive. Also, along the top edge of the phone, you have the 3.5mm headset jack, and you have a noise cancellation microphone. Flip it around, we find its 5-megapixel autofocus camera with a silver trim around it, the LED flash nearby. It has the ability to shoot 1080p videos. Along the bottom side here, you have the micro dots which make up its speaker grill. You can tell with the name right there, it features Beats Audio. If we remove the back casing here, which is nothing more than a plastic cover, it features NFC. You have the nano SIM slot right there, micro SD card slot for expandability, which is nice. But with the 1800 mAh battery, it's actually integrated with the handset. It's not something you can remove yourself. There's nothing really new with the experience here on the HTC One VX. We've seen it before. It's actually running Sense 4.1 on top of Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich, and there is word that's going to get an upgrade to Jelly Bean sometime down the road. But out of the box, it is Ice Cream Sandwich. It's still very appealing thanks to the usual set of widgets that HTC makes. It's very polished looking, gives a really nice look and feel to the platform, but it's not most up-to-date version of Android, of course. It gets the job done nonetheless. Powering the handset is none other than a dual-core 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 Plus Pro processor with 1 GB of RAM. And you can tell with the live wallpaper activated here, it's exhibiting a pretty good response. Not the tightest thing we've seen out there, but it gets the job done. So it's going to handle all your needs. Basic tasks such as opening up applications, playing games, even surfing the web. No problems at all. So for the most part, you'll be happy with the performance. With its modest 4.5-inch display, it's more than sufficient for typing up messages with its on-screen keyboard. The layout's very spacious, on top of that, very responsive too, and as an alternative, you could utilize the trace method as an alternate way of inputting text. Of course, if you live in an area that has AT&T LTE connectivity, you'll make good use out of the faster LTE speeds available on the HTC One VX. If not, you can always fall back to HSPA Plus speeds instead. Now, the only thing that we notice is just that there's a little bit of delay when you're changing the zoom level here with rendering, but it's not that bad at all. Other stuff like navigational controls, it's very responsive and quick, so we like that. On top of that, it loads up pages very quickly, so overall, you really can't go wrong with it. Checking out the music player on the HTC One VX, nothing really new. It's the usual Sense player that we've been seeing on other devices out there. Very conventional by today's standards when it comes to its presentation functionality. But luckily though, with its audio quality through the speaker, we gotta say it produced some robust tones that are indeed strong. There's no crackling whatsoever. And of course, you get some amplification with the headphones just because it offers Beats audio support. Not surprisingly, the smartphone handles high-definition videos with no problems at all. The one we have here is encoded in DivX 1920 by 1080 resolution, and you can tell it's moving very swiftly with its playback, and of course it has some very nice, pleasing visuals with its performance. It also has support for many other video codecs out there, like H.264, Xvid, and even MPEG-4. Honestly, we can't complain too much just because with this entry-level device you're getting a 5-megapixel autofocus camera, and for the most part it gets the job done with its quality. Now as long as there's plenty of lighting, you're going to get some nice looking shots. The thing we notice that it tends to over-sharpen with its details in outdoor conditions, and on top of that, colors seem to be a little bit distorted. Of course, in lower lighting conditions you tend to notice a lot more graininess and noise that's being prominent, and on top of that, details are very soft looking from what we've seen. Likewise, we could say the same thing about its 1080p video recording quality. Nothing worth boasting about, but it's decent at best. Now, the less lighting there is, the more evidence of artifacting that comes into play, which becomes a little bit distracting, especially in lower lighting conditions. But besides that, everything else has a nice appeal to it. You have gradual exposure, decent looking details, and also a nice playback frame rate. So we really can't complain much about it. When it comes to call quality, the HTC One VX does a great job just because on both ends of the line, voices are clear, distinctive, audible, and there's no background noise whatsoever. On top of that, the earpiece itself produces a good amount of volume to make out voices. We even tested out the noise cancellation feature of the handset, and we gotta say it works quite well too. It's able to mute and drown out any background noise, so the only thing you hear is your caller's voice itself. The only thing we noticed that with the speakerphone though, it exhibits a little bit of echoing at the loudest volume setting. Signal strength is not a problem with the handset either, just because indoors it has good penetration and we didn't experience any dropped phone calls during our testing with it. All in all, for $50 with the tier contract, you're getting a very balanced device with the HTC One VX. It might not be as extravagant with its design compared to some of the other devices we've seen from HTC's camp, nor is its hardware specs intimidating, but regardless of that, it gets the job done, especially for $50 if you're looking for an entry-level handset that's not going to break the bank while still offering a good amount of features and performance. The HTC One VX is going to be the device for you. So if you'd like to learn more about this handset, guys, you could check out our website, phonearena.com. It's John V. As always, thanks for watching.